In this episode of The Trend Talk, we talk to Mr. Louie Snail's celebrity artist to the stars, who'll give us the 411 on what celebrities are donning the nail bling.
Welcome to The Trend Talk. I'm one of your hosts, Liza Morales.
And I am Bel Hernandez, and we have a fantastic blingy kind of show today.
Indeed, we do. We are so excited. If you're anything like me, you definitely like to add that extra bling to your nails. And today we have Couture Nail Designer, an artiste, if you will, Mr. Louie Nails.
You know, and it's amazing that it's men who are doing this beautiful work, because this is a traditionally known female kind of job, don't you think?
Definitely. And what I love is that during the pandemic, so many of us really got inspired to level up our nail game. So maybe there's some trends that we can copy, but more on a budget. So we'll have that and a little bit more.
So don't go away, because you're going to miss out. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
These days, nail art has become haute couture in and of itself. Whether celebrities are walking down a red carpet, performing on stage, prepping for a photo shoot, or merely getting ready to run some errands, dressing their nails to the max is a top priority. It's truly impressive how nail artists are able to translate a vision of self-expression on only 10 fingernails. And today, we're excited to have one of these highly sought-after nail artists join us. Mr. Louie is known for doing the nails of a long list of celebrities, including Bella and Gigi Hadid, Janelle Monáe, Paris Hilton, Diana Guerrero, and even our favorite conejito, Bad Bunny himself. Welcome to The Trend Talk, Mr. Louie.
Hi, guys. How are you?
We are so well. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I have admired your work on Liza's nails. I didn't even know someone could do that. It was amazing. She had the Grammy logo on there. And
Latin Grammys, yep.
The Latin Grammy logo, yes. It was amazing. So wonderful to be here with you, and want to find out how you make your magic.
Well, it started when I was a little kid. I used to oil paint, starting when I was 6 years old. And then back in those days, there was no nail art brushes. So I really cut down my sister's makeup brushes and started painting really tiny things, images on my sister's nails. And it all took off from there. And being that my dad is, you know, in the business, doing cutting hair, beautician, barber, that's where I started leaning towards the salon side, the glam look and all that. And I don't know, I just headed towards that direction.
I love it. You're so humble. Now, you didn't just head into that direction. You were actually given a set of salons at a very young age. So can you tell us a little bit about this? Because as humble as you are, I do think that it does take some praise for how you've been able to build this empire.
Well, about 21 years ago, this 21st, actually this Sunday is my dad's anniversary. Mr. Louie, the original Mr. Louie. I'm Mr. Louie Jr. But he passed away from cancer, and he left me his salons. I just graduated college, and I got my master's in art. So I was headed towards New York, being some some artist drawing or something like to that sort. I didn't know which direction I was going in. But then my dad's death took me towards the salon life, and he left me everything. Here I am today.
It's so interesting how nails have really flourished. I mean, back in like 20 years ago, it's like, okay, I'm going to go get a manicure. And the most outrageous thing you could get was like a French manicure, you know, and now it is amazing. How did that start to grow? Did you see it? Did you know it was coming? Did you get ahead of it? Because it seems like you're ahead of the curve right now.
Well, I was there with the original crew when we first started trying out diamonds. And no one wants to take the credit, you know, oh, we did diamonds first. No, we were all amongst, there was a clique like in New York that everybody always knew that's the person to go to. That's the person to go to. But we all started trying out Swarovski crystals. And the art was first. If you knew how to draw, you know, it was a benefactor. But sometimes in nail art, you don't even know need to draw. A mistake could be something powerful. A mistake could be something beautiful. So you don't really need nail art skills, but it does help that, you know, you are good at nail art. So I knew it. I knew it back in the 90s. I was like, this is going to take off. I never knew about, you know, the glam world in, you know, Hollywood. I never saw that coming. I didn't say myself, you know, I knew I didn't want to be stuck behind a table doing nails for the rest of my life. I knew I wanted to be more. I wanted to make an impression, make a difference. And I just kept working on my nail art. And next thing you know, I threw a little, you know, article out for Vogue, and there was, next thing you know, I'm doing a cover for a magazine, and I'm like, how did I get here?
Wait a minute, you can't just be like, oh, I just did a little cover, you know, like a little cover for Vogue, and then voila. Oye, pero eso es because like you have the talent, you've had the drive. And one thing Bel and I were talking about that, you know, we really were so impressed with is that being a male nail artist in a predominantly female-led industry is a bigger thing in and of itself. So how have you carved your journey? Because even right now, I can see from the recognition of it, it couldn't have been easy, right? When you talk about these highs and these lows.
No, it was not easy at all, because I'm not trying to talk nothing about women, but women are very like, they fight a lot, they're catty, they're particular, they're jealous. And here I am, this Latino male trying to break into the industry. And, you know, it started in New York. I still had my salon, and I got hired by Vanity Projects. They're still there now. They have Vanity Projects Miami, Vanity Projects New York. And I was the 3 original nail techs that started there. And that's where basically I took off. Rita, the owner of Vanity Projects, just started giving me, you know, work like New York Fashion Week. It was a nail above experience. And I'm forever grateful that she opened that door for me, because from that door, many doors opened up, and I discovered a world beyond nails, on nails, you know, with my manager or an agent. I was like, I'm not a celebrity. Here I am having a manager, or, you know, I'm flying across the world to do a 10-minute manicure and coming right back.
Wow.
Does this exist? And nails just took off little by little, art. And I worked my heart off. Like, let me tell you, I would sit there week and day by, like, trying to, what do I do? You know, I get ideas, inspiration from people, from photos, from, you know, people outside, natural landscapes. And I tried to work on it. And here I am today, you know, doing Hollywood clients, flying out yachts, having my own room in mansions with Tyrese Gibson, you know. It was just, it's incredible.
Talked about the celebrities, and I wanted to ask a little bit about that. Like, who was the first celebrity that you did the nails? And of course, I think that the word like just travels like crazy when somebody gets done. So
it's a small industry.
Yeah.
Everybody's manager knows everybody's manager. My first celebrity was Queen Latifah. Dana Owens, which I went to school with her. And I don't know if you know, but I can sing as well. So we had auditioned in the same play, and I was in the same play with her. And, you know, it's thereafter that, you know, I saw her later through, she was a rapper, Queen Latifah, African this. It was beautiful. And I was like, wow, she made it. She's a famous star. And I didn't ever think she was recognize me. So I was pulling my gates down one day. She was like, hey, Poppy, you could do my nails? And I was like, I look back and I go, Dana? And I was like, wow. And that was my first celebrity, which I have a picture of on my Instagram. From there on, I just started doing celebrities, mostly at New York Fashion Week. Mm-hmm. And through New York Fashion Week, one door opened the other beside that. I got discovered with Netflix. And then I became really good friends with my bestie, Diane Guerrero. And through her and an actress named Dascha Polanco.
Yes.
You know, it was just one word of another. And next, Orange is the New Black, that television, correct. Mm-hmm. And they all, one by one, wanted me to do their nails. And it was just doors opening left. Like when I tell you, it's like fireworks. When it's for you, it's for you.
Eso.
And what's meant to be is meant to be. I just feel like that, you know, never get discouraged, you know, that, oh, I can't do this or I'm not good enough. You never know what they're looking for in a different person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was so funny because Belle wasn't kidding. I got compliments from her. I got compliments nonstop about the amazing work, that you had done on my nails. I loved that they matched the 1800 Cristalino tequila bottle on top of it.
Oh,
So
yeah, I'm still rocking that ring. I love the ring.
Yes. So can you talk to us a little bit about that activation, what you created? Because I do think the people at home would find it interesting, and some of the celebs that you got to work with, because not all of them allowed themselves to be photographed on camera.
Yes. Well, I was a strict policy. I mean, 1800 in that room, they didn't want nobody to take selfies. But although, everybody wanted to take pictures, or I was obsessed with taking celebrities, but I would never imagine. I don't know, Liza, you did not know this, but I didn't even know who Cristiano Ronaldo's wife was, Georgina. And this guy, a manager, comes in with all these crew and like, hey, you're Mr. Louie. And I'm like, I don't know how he found me, who told him my name. And I go, he was like, can I speak to you in private? And I go, yeah. I don't even know from a day who was this man. He takes me outside of the room, and luckily I was on my way to lunch. So then I speak to him. He was like, hey, Georgina has 2 broken nails, and we cannot find a nail tech that does your work. Is there any possible that we could pay you and you go to the hotel? I'm like, oh my God, I would love that. But I'm, working for the sponsors of the Grammys and I can't leave. But I mean, she could come here and, get her nails fixed and, and get some of our bling for 1800, and I'm pretty sure she'll like that. She was like, okay, that's fine. How do I get your number? And I was like, well, it's on my bio on Instagram. I gave my Instagram. So I go to lunch. Never thought nothing about it. When I'm going to lunch. I'm at Nathan's trying to save a penny, which was not saving a penny. $30 in on Nathan's. And I'm like, my manager, Valerie, calls me. She's like, hurry up and get back now. And I'm like, why? What happened? She's like, there's somebody sitting on your table with all these bodyguards. And there's the cameras and everybody's there. I'm like, I don't know who she is. And she was like, well, I don't even know who she is. So everybody started gossiping, and I'm like, who the woman was. I didn't even know who she was. But immediately I come in, here I go, like I'm some Hollywood star. I come in with my shades and a trench coat, and I throw my coat. I'm like, hey, I'm here to, fix your nails. How are you? I'm Mr. Louie. Not knowing her from a can of paint. So she was like, I have 2 pointer fingers that are broke. And I go, and I don't really bring drills because we were there just for blinging.
Yep.
So how am I going to fix her broken nails? I'm going to come up with something. So I fully, actually, it's so funny. I still have the nails.
Oh, let's see. We do. Yes.
Those are the nails that you did for her?
It was all Swarovski crystals, all blinged out, crushed crystals, and I covered her full nail. And
wait, can we show them again so we can get the close up? Let's see.
Okay.
Yes, there you go. Yep.
Yeah. So then, next thing you know, I cover her nails, and how I fix her nails was covering them in gel, and gel just fills in the gap. Mm-hmm. So I try to make her cracks a little bit bigger. So the bigger you make the crack, the more new product you're going to have to fix a broken nail. Mm-hmm. So then I fix her nails, and here I am. I go, so what's your name? She was like, oh, Georgina. She was like, do you have an Insta? I said, do you have an Insta? And I'm like, who asks that to people? Like, because I didn't know who she was. And my manager kept texting me, and everybody's texting me like, who is she? But nobody knew who Georgina was, if you know.
Meanwhile, I'm on the side because I knew when she walked in, and they were like, we can't take any photos. We can't take any pictures because she's not hair and makeup ready. She's literally just coming in to get her nails fixed, and she'll get the other gifts and stuff, but then she has to run back out. And I was like, oh my God, that's Georgina. And I'm like looking at you like make sure you're paying attention.
No one is telling me. So and I finally slipped in a text, and I sent to my boyfriend actually in DR. I go, who is this? Immediately in 3 seconds. That's Cristiano Ronaldo's wife from Netflix. He's Georgina. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. But, I'm still, that's me, no starstruck, no nothing. And at least I know whose nails I'm doing, So next thing you know, it's crazy because her assistant was starting to film me and make a video. And she was like, we are getting our nails fixed by Mr. Lewis, blah, 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 Mr. Lewis, Mr. Lewis. And I'm sitting there like, okay. So, at the time Juan was there. So Juan helped me fix another nail that he had to replace. So we were trying to get her out of there,
as quickly as possible.
As quickly as possible. And then, after that, she wanted to major tip me. I mean, she pulled out the stacks. And I was like, oh, thank you. And 1800 was like, oh, no, he's being taken care of. And I was like, okay, no problem. It didn't have no problem with me. But I was like, bye-bye, money.
Wow, Mr. Luis lost out on a big tip, but he's winning on all sorts of levels. Stay tuned for part 2, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Welcome back to the Trend Talk as we continue our interview with Mr. Luis, nail artist extraordinaire.
Now, one of the things that we see are like different categories of nail art, including even like nail sculptures, like with nails opening and closing.
Yeah.
Right? What would you say your specialty is with nails? Because to your point, you were going to figure out how to make it work. And that's something that I love. Because even when I had one of my broken nails before I was about to go do my live shot, same thing. You were like, I got you, girl. I'll figure this out. I was like, okay. So I would love to know, like, what is your specialty or your niche that you would say you specialize in?
Well, when people recognize my work, they're always like, that's Mr. Lewis. I have a tendency to put a lot of nail art incorporated in with diamonds now, because diamonds is a hot trend, obviously. So you rarely see either or. Like, you either see all bling with regular polish and glitters and chromes, or you see nail art from like the old school, what we call the old school, when we started drawing with our little nail art brushes and wisp of glitter and little birds and Hawaiian tropic paradise. So what I try to do is I try to come up with my own concept, a combination of everything. So, but each nail is going to tell a story, like a little bit of this matches that finger matches that. And you got to actually be smart at, coordinating what's going on in your little story on 10 fingers. But my specialty is a combination of a little of everything. A hot new trend, maybe a chrome on this one, combined with the nail art on top of that with a little bling. So it has a little bit of everything to give me that distinct look, like he didn't miss out nothing. And then at the same time, it's not too much. Now, there are shoots, obviously, and video shoots and rappers and singers where I have to go overboard with chains and connecting the links and everything. That's a little fun for me, but my trademark is the combination of everything being different. 10 nails different, but at the same time, very similar. You know what I mean? It's telling a story.
So that's what Liza had.
Yeah, so that's what it is. And that's where I come up with my concept for the press-ons for Kiss. I am currently their creative director for press-on nail art. So wherever they approve, they go to press, and they either approve or don't approve, and it's awesome, Although it doesn't say Mr. Lewis, I don't mind. It doesn't say Mr. Lewis. It says Kiss, and people know that I am their nail designer, So for people, and I have my own office. It's a huge, it was a huge wall full of nail art. You can only, it's like nail heaven. And you just pick a here, from here, and you just create. So they give you 5 press-ons to create on a weekly basis. So you don't come up with 10, you come up with 5. And your nail art always, they'll tell you this week we want stilettos, this week we want coffins, and they'll tell you the shape. You just have to come up with whatever they tell you. They'll come up with the basics, and then you develop the concept of what's going to be new out in Walmart or CVS. Even the most simplest thing can now they're putting diamonds on. Like if you see the nail art, I'm including they give me their diamonds to play with. So then I am now producing diamond nail. If you see all those nails, I mean, it's crazy because they have more than one designer for Kiss, but you'll know my work. You'll see it out there.
Anyone out there, you can wear a Mr. Lewis nail art. That's amazing. It's not just the big celebs that can afford it. You can also afford it. And one of the things that came up the other day with a friend of mine is that they said, oh, I don't, I used to go get manicures, but now the press-on nails are so good. They stay
and they're cheaper
on.
to do, which is hurting I wouldn't say it's hurting the nail industry at all, because people love to go to relax. That's the whole thing. People go to nail salon to relax there and sit there and tell your whole life and tell how this and that, because we're not nail technicians or nail artists only. We're psychiatrists at the same time. But fortunately, we can make these people not only look beautiful, but feel better.
Can you tell us a little bit about the trends that are coming this year on the sets you've already created? Because this gives a sneak peek for everyone on home of what they can start prepping for this year.
Well, right now, dark is in, anything black, anything maroon mahogany, deep burgundies, deep navy blues. They're all coming back. You know how everything comes back and does a full circle. But, trends have now, the latest trend was the cartoon trend. I don't know if you saw that, 4D dimensional. That came back. I was doing those designs 15 years ago.
Tell us about the Latino world and how it's blossomed and everybody wants into the Latino world.
Believe it or not, this is my first step into the Latino world. My prayers have been answered. I am very orgulloso to be Latino. I'm a full-blooded Colombian. Both parents are born in Bogota, Colombia. And I didn't know how to step in there. You know what I mean? Of course, my Latinas from Orange is the New Black have been a huge help from, getting me here or introducing me here. And, always, oh, this is my nail tech, Mr. Louie, and they always introduce me as first name, Mr., last name, Louis, so I'm sort of kind of some Madonna, but crossing over into the Latino world, oh my God, when I got to do the Latin Grammys, it was my second time doing it, but this time I was more obviously involved because I'm working for 1800 Tequila, and they're the sponsors. So I got to meet all these Latinos, the Latin artists that my parents grew up. And, I've always listened to them, playing the songs and I was like, God, wow, making my mom proud for her to see me on Despierto America without me calling her and telling her, Mom, put on the show. No, she herself, they got her on video, dropping her a cup of coffee and calling all her sisters and her brothers, my son is on Despierto America. And they showed a clipping of me doing nails at the Latin Grammys. And I wish I got that clipping because I can't even, I'm trying to look for it, but I can't. But it was incredible. What I got from Latin Grammys this year was my mom's face. My mom is 85 years old. Oh. And on Christmas, a few days before, she had a heart attack. But God gave me the best Christmas present ever. She got out the hospital. She got a stent put in and she's good to go. Good. But, the first thing she said, your mom is not going anywhere anytime soon. And I said, no te olvides eso. So, I was incredibly, gifted with a most beautiful mom, so kind-hearted, and that's my inspiration now. Everything I do is for my mother, so I'm excited to be where I am at the right place and at the right time, and all I pray to God for is health. Without our health, we are nobodies. So I don't pray for if it comes the fame and it comes with the territory, that's great. I'm grateful for that. But all I pray to God for is for my mom to see me and me to see my mom continue, Life, nothing lasts forever, but you got to take advantage of every day you have. And every day is a blessing for us. So
and we're so grateful that you could join us.
Thank you so much.
Liza, when she did the Latin Grammys and she showed me the nails and she says, we're going to have a chance to interview him. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And we're so excited that for everyone else to get to know you. And thank you for being on the Trend Talk. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes. Now we're so excited that you joined us here on the Trend Talk, and we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. So for this week's trending topic, we wanted to talk about identity and self-identity in particular. Now, I know that a big conversation that continues to be had across generations is the fluidity of gender. So I know I personally identify as a female, and I believe you do as well.
I do too.
Right? But what do you think about this whole conversation, and how excited are you that we're now at a point where people can embrace being, binary, trans, female, or male, they? Like, I really love that we're at a point where we can have that conversation, but I know that it's a bit controversial.
It's controversial in the fact that you have to stay with it to understand the different changes, because it changes like so fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I understand the whole identity of like the non-binary and the people calling themselves in pronouns and people identifying in your emails, these are my pronouns. I just don't get it. I just think it's so much more that we have to put into our heads. But I also understand that's important to people.
Yes.
I just feel it's very confusing. And I'm really glad to identify anyone the way they want to be identified. But please don't diss me if I don't do it because I'm not used to it.
Or you're just learning, right?
Yes.
So I do think that there needs to be some grace on both sides as we're continuing to navigate this new field. But you know what? We would love to know what you at home think. How do you, mix into this whole conversation? Head over to both our Instagram and our Facebook page at That Trend Talk Show and let us know what your thoughts are. Because I think it's a conversation that we all need to have as a community. And the only way we get through an uncomfortable conversation is by having it.
Yes. So thank you so much for joining us on the Trend Talk. And remember, if it's trending,
we're talking.
Ya llegó el carnaval, todo es fiesta y alegría.
Con cultura, estos días llenos de algarabía.